Meet Jimmy Conley, Marine veteran and Houston police officer.
I joined the Marine Corps in 2005. I joined simply to serve my country. I chose the Marine Corps just for the basic reasons you're from everyone else. They had best looking uniforms. They're supposed to be the best, and they are. I was assigned to 2nd Battalion, 7th Marines as an infantry assaultman. I went to Iraq in 2007 and Afghanistan in 2008, and then I got out the Marine Corps in 2009. In 2007, when I was in Iraq, we were out of Camp Fallujah. We operated in the areas just east of the city of Fallujah, Saqqiyah, Zidane, Route Lincoln, places like that. On that deployment was typically was just IEDs and sniper fire, and as far as how it affected me, I don't think it had a huge impact on me. We had 7 killed in action. I think we had a little over 200 casualties, mostly from IEDs. And then my second deployment in 2008 was we were out of Delaram, Afghanistan, southern Afghanistan, and that was a little different. There we had more like sustained firefights, and we had 20 killed in action, and I think we had over 300 casualties, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, over 30 amputees.
In March of 2010, Jimmy Conley was hired by the Houston Police Department. He's now a field training officer. One of his awards includes Police Officer of the Month. Jimmy has taken the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement Training Course 4067, Trauma Affected Veterans.
It was a 3-day class, and I really enjoyed the class. It was a lot of fun. We got to work with other officers and the instructors, and we got to do some practical application, do some scenarios and stuff, which is always very helpful when you can talk about some training, but when you actually go and practice that training, physically do it, it makes a huge difference.
This 3-day training course involves classroom instruction, group discussions, case studies, and day 3 is full of role-playing, so officers can put into practice what they've learned over the past 2 days.
There'll be 2 individuals, 2 veterans. One has served in Iraq and is having PTSD issues. His buddy is trying to help him, get him help. The police are called, and we're going to see how they handle the situation.
But you're still crowding my ass. Now we're not crowding you. If you can just sit down on the chair for us, okay? Come up and sit down on the chair for us, okay?
No, but I'm not coming up nowhere yet. I got to make sure it's safe.
Sit down on the chair for us.
David!
Cody, will you come over here and sit on the chair? There's a
David, I'll come. David, no, I don't. You tell me what's going on, man. We just got shelled. What the hell are you doing standing up? I told you that, man. We got shelled.
John?
That's somebody we serve together, and I'm just trying to get him some assistance right now. We're going to probably head over to the VA.
John, get down.
We can figure things out.
Okay, he's having a flashback right now.
Yeah. What's his name? His name's Alan.
Officer Conley took this voluntary training to gain insight into the behavior of the trauma-affected veteran. Being a combat veteran himself, Officer Conley could relate to the veteran's issues. But it's not the same for some of his fellow officers who have never been in the military.
I kind of felt like some of the training the police department provides for mental illness would kind of guide them in the right direction. But so in that sense, I was kind of surprised that they didn't understand a lot of it. But at the same time, a lot of those guys were not in the military and don't have that kind of experience. So from that aspect, I see why they may not understand it. I don't think they typically understand the military mindset and dealing with veterans who may be suffering from mental illness and stuff. It related to the military.
In addition to his combat experience and his life as a Marine, this training course increased Officer Conley's understanding of trauma-affected veterans. And it wasn't long before he put his newfound knowledge to good use on the job.
Recently, I had a call with a gentleman who is a Army veteran, a combat veteran, and he had come to me on his own. I was working some other scene. He walked up to me and noticed my pin, so we started talking about the military. And he was explaining to me that he's been suffering from PTSD. And I told him, hey, if you ever have any problems if you need to call, you call the police and ask for me, and I'll make sure I come. And he did. Later that night, he called. I made it to his house, and he was actually hiding underneath his vehicle. And I don't know what it was, but I kind of had that feeling that there was someone in the vehicle, kind of a police instinct, I guess. So, I kind of put my light down there, and he started saying some unusual things that indicated to me that he may be in a state of mental crisis. I reminded him who I was. I told him we spoke to him earlier, and he came out. I had him sit down on the tailgate of his truck, and we just talked for about 45 minutes to an hour. And I used a lot of stuff in the terminology and stuff we talked about, like relating, letting them talk. A lot of times you have to vet yourself. So, you know, letting them know, hey, I'm a veteran too, I'm a combat veteran as well. And then just let him talk and talk and talk and talk. And I just stood out there, like I said, for 45 minutes to an hour and let him talk. And when he calmed down and he was ready, I took him to the VA. And I didn't need an emergency detention order. Typically when someone is violent, officers are quick to go hands-on, as they should, to protect us and to protect them. And I just took that chance and tried to talk to him, letting him know who I was. And because I was able to relate with him and let him know that I've been in similar situations as him, it was able to get him to calm down. And then that way I don't have to be so quick to go hands-on. He's called a couple of times after that, and in other cases it worked out more favorable, where I just go and talk to him for a little bit and I don't have to take him to the VA. Some other stuff that we talked about was if a veteran is being charged with a crime, how to give them resources to get to the Veterans Court. I've done that a couple times.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Had an Army veteran that was being arrested for possession of a controlled substance. Got his information. It wasn't even my arrest. It was an officer that I knew at the jail, and he was arresting the guy. I got his information. I called the Veterans Court. You know, y'all gave us the 2 phone numbers for misdemeanor and felony court cases. It was a felony because of the kind of drugs he had. And I called and gave the lady all that information, for his name, date of birth, and his arrest and all that kind of stuff. And I've done that a couple times. I had another gentleman in my beat, kind of the same deal. When we met with him, he had a drinking problem, and it kind of aggravated his PTSD. And I had to let him know, same deal, this guy was a Marine. I had to let him know I'm a Marine as well, I was an infantryman as well. And just sat and talked to him for a while, and was able to get him calmed down, and in that case had family come and get him.
Officer Conley sees great value in the trauma-affected veteran training course. He believes it's another tool that police officers can use to defuse situations before they get out of hand. Officer Conley definitely recommends this training to those in law enforcement.
The training we did, the practical application, was really good for officers to see how they react differently, things that they see differently. Talking about the signs that that may trigger PTSD. And for officers who have not been in combat, who are not in the military, it's a really good way to let them see what they may be seeing at the time when they may be in a state of mental crisis.